In this video, I'm going to talk about plans or strategies to save for college. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, but the question that we're going to answer is going to use Florida's plans as the example. But again, it doesn't matter where you're from, where your beneficiary is from, because the strategy and the thought process is going to be the same. So let me pull up on the screen the question and we can go through it together. So hi, Travis, really appreciate your videos. I'm struggling with whether to go with the Florida Prepaid, the savings, or a trading account. I'm a Florida resident and my kid is 9 years old. I drew out the comparison tables of all three accounts, but still struggling to find a definite push to one. I think the biggest struggles are the benefit of tax-free earnings versus the flexibility of a trading account. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. So let's start out with getting a high-level overview of what these three plans are really all about. And again, if you're not in the state of Florida, this could still apply to you because almost everything I'm going to talk about, it doesn't matter really what state you're in or what plan you're choosing. These are all things that you should think about. Now, starting with the Florida Prepaid Plan, this is a type of plan where you're going to make a set amount of payments at a set rate and you're going to get a guaranteed benefit. That works a lot like an annuity. So these plans are a lot rarer around the country. There are a handful of them. It's very popular in the state of Florida because of that guaranteed benefit. And if you go to a Florida school, you know exactly what you're getting. But if you go out of state, that money could transfer to another school. So you're not stuck just going to a Florida school, but you're only going to get the average cost of what Florida schools cost. So if you're going to another state school, you're going to get out-of-state tuition, which is likely to be significantly higher than that benefit for the same benefit that you're getting. So for example, if you're paying for 4 years of college and you go out of state, well, it might not cover all 4 years based on the average price of the Florida schools at that time. So there is uncertainty with that pricing. So if the other schools go up and ours in Florida doesn't go up quite as much, you're not going to get as much of a benefit. But there's no investment risk here. With the 529 College Savings Plan, you're going to get a set list of either mutual funds, ETFs, or you're going to have pre-built portfolios, and you are taking on investment risk with the 529 College Savings Plans. Now, these plans, you're putting in after-tax money, it's going to grow tax deferred, and as long as you use it for qualifying educational expenses, in this case, I'm only going to talk about college, even though you can use the 529 College Savings Plans for K through 12, which was an added benefit several years ago. But for college, as long as you're using it for college, all of the growth is really the benefit because you're not going to pay any gains or any taxes on that growth, again, if you use it for qualifying educational purposes. Now, that third option is going to be the trading account. This is just like a regular investment account. So you're going to choose anything that you want to invest in, whether it be stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. You don't have to use it for college. You're going to get long-term and short-term capital gains. There's no tax benefits here if you use that money for school. Just a regular trading account. But the benefit there is you get all of this flexibility. So let's say that your son or daughter or your beneficiary that you're savings for doesn't want to go to school at all. You can just give them the money. You can keep the money. You can give them half the money. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. If you want them to go to get off-campus housing and you want to pay for that, it doesn't really matter. If you want to buy them a car, plane tickets, it really doesn't matter. You can use it for anything. It's a regular trading account. Now, the benefit here, again, is that flexibility. So the investments very likely could be the same in that trading account as in the 529 College Savings Plan. So if you're kind of trying to figure out which one of these would be better for you, maybe a combination of the two. Maybe you like a little bit of that flexibility for the trading account, but you want some of that tax deferral benefit, and that's where the savings account comes in. Or if you just really don't want to deal with the investment risk, that's where the prepaid plan would come in. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some of these numbers are and go back to the prepaid plan first. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen here. So here's Florida's prepaid plan. And again, if you're taking a look at this, then a lot of these things I'm going to point out could work for your state. So again, if you're not in the state of Florida, all the same things are still going to apply. So this will be really quick to go through the Florida plan, then we can jump over to the savings plan, which is probably what most people out there want to take a look at. And I'm also going to talk about what I'm doing for my own kids. So let's go ahead and just put in a birth date. Let's just put in today's date, whatever it is. I think the question was for a 9-year-old. So I have twin 9-year-olds right now, but it doesn't really matter because again, the concepts are going to be identical. So if we look here, we can see what the rates are. So let's say we want to choose a 4-year Florida college plan. If our child was born today, we would pay $90.14 per month for, I believe it's 211 months. I don't know if it shows it right there. I just know that, oh, there we go, right here. So it says 211 months if we're going to pay monthly, if we want to do a 5-year plan or a one-time lump sum. So if we wanted to pay for school for Florida, we go ahead and plop down $17,499.97. We are guaranteed and we are all set to go. Or we can make the monthly payments, 211 total payments. And that is for 120 college credits. Now, what is the estimated benefit? Here it says it's $43,000, but that's a huge estimate because we all know that even all the Florida schools are all different, let alone different schools are different prices. But the target here that they gave is $43,000. I don't know exactly how they got that number, but they give you some sort of an answer here. This is an estimate of the amount we anticipate to pay for tuition and fees covered by your plan. So I don't know if they're using the average or a couple of schools. They're probably using some sort of an average. It doesn't really matter. You can kind of get an idea of what you're putting in and what you're getting out. Now, if you're wondering what this comes out to, this comes out to an 8.29% rate of return. So if you're putting in $90.14 per month for 211 months and your benefit is $43,000 at the end, that's a pretty decent rate of return based on those numbers. With this prepaid plan, I would choose the prepaid plan if I thought or knew or I was really focused on my kids going to a Florida school. But I don't know. I didn't go to a Florida school myself. So I want to give my kids the flexibility. So I'm not using the Florida prepaid plan. But if that is your focus, then by all means, the Florida prepaid plan is a great plan based on the numbers and the benefits that you're getting. And you don't have to deal with the investment risk. So that is a huge benefit. Now let's take a look at the savings plan. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to the savings plan, how it works. Let's see if I can find the investment options. Here they go. Investment options are here. Now, I don't like how a lot of these plans present themselves to the public as far as simple, intermediate, and advanced go, because it almost seems like, okay, they put a most popular sticker here. They say this is simple, but they're building your own plan. And I don't really think the plans are well designed as far as the investment options go. And I've talked about it in other videos on how I built my own portfolios, but I would prefer to be slightly more aggressive, so to speak. I invest in just the S&P 500 funds inside of the 529 college savings plans because I don't believe putting bonds into these plans early on is the right way to go. And they all do. So to me, I just don't like that. You can see here, it breaks it down into 3 different categories: the equities, which would be stocks, the fixed income, which would be bonds, and then the money market. Just think more like aggressive versus conservative. But in reality, I don't want any bonds or money market funds inside of my kids' 529 college savings plans day one because school is so far out. And when they get close or they're right about to enroll into college, maybe. But in reality, I don't want that. I want more control over it too. But actually looking at this, I think these numbers might actually be backwards. I think the enrolled is supposed to be down here. This is supposed to be 2024 because this would have a lot of equities. That's what you would have day one, and you would have less equities over time. So I think this is just a little bit of an error. But in general, you're going to move from more equities early on to more bonds over time and money market accounts. But look, day one, we're still going to have bonds in the portfolio. To me, I don't see it, but that's me. And if we look at some of the other investment options, the intermediate, I believe these are pre-built portfolios, which are fine too. So you can kind of choose your portfolio, but I like the advanced option. Now they call it the advanced option, which I just find so misleading, because if you just want the S&P 500, which in all honesty, I think that's the way to go. And that's exactly how I'm investing. And we can see it right here. You can see the US large cap equity index, and that is going to track the S&P 500. And this particular fund is run by Vanguard, and this has the lowest fee that I've seen in any 529 college savings plan at 0.02% or 2 basis points. So think of literally 2% of 1 penny. So that is a super small fee. And with the Florida plan in particular, they don't have any admin fees, or last I checked, they don't even have any admin fees, and a lot of other plans do. So this does make it the cheapest 529 plan that I've seen. So if you see a cheaper plan, let me know in the comments down below, because there's so many to go through, and these things change all the time. If you look at one of my older videos from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I didn't like the Florida plan because it was expensive. I just didn't like how it was set up. I didn't like the investments, but they've changed all of that. They have this low-cost S&P 500 fund. So I have since switched to using the Florida 529 college savings plan for my own kids. Although I still kept those other plans. If you see in other videos, I still have those plans, but I primarily am putting my new contributions into the Florida 529 college savings plan. And I like to keep things simple. And I think this, the question mentioned something about a spreadsheet that they were trying to figure out which to use. Where is it? They said, oh yeah, right here. I drew out the comparison table for all 3 accounts. So I was like, okay, you drew them out. I thought I did it in the past. I tried to find my calculations, but I said, you know what, I'll just do it again. But I got to doing it, and here's kind of what I came up with. The Florida savings plan, I just assumed a 10% rate of return. If you want to use 8%, doesn't really matter. The S&P 500 since like the early 1900s has a 10% compound annual rate of return. So I stuck in 10%, but it's going to be the same investment in the trading account as the Florida account. So I'm just using the S&P 500. So if you're using more aggressive numbers just because you're going to choose your own investment, that's fine. But in reality, here's the negative of that is you might actually save less. So if you're thinking, okay, this is the goal that I'm going to try to achieve at this rate of return, that means this is how much I need to save per month. But if you're aggressive about that rate of return, that means you're going to save less. But if you bring down the rate of return, that means you're going to be required to save more. So in that context, you want to kind of assume that you're not going to make a lot of money, so you're saving enough. And if you do much better as your child gets closer to school, you can either stop saving or take that money and just put it somewhere else if you've already reached your goal inside of your 529 college savings plan. That's kind of how I would think about it. So to kind of compare those two, it doesn't really make sense. And we can run the numbers really easily for the Florida Prepaid Plan, which gives us that guaranteed rate of return. But again, it's not just about the rate of return or what those projections would be, because the Florida Prepaid Plan, again, would be a benefit if you want your child to go to a Florida school. If not, I don't think it's the right way to go. I don't think it's going to give you the best bang for your buck. But if you're scared of the stock market, then, which really isn't quantifiable, you can't put that into dollars and cents. That's a feeling that you have that is emotionally driven. So use the Florida Prepaid. Now with the Florida Savings Plan versus the trading account, again, you're going to basically have the same type of investments. You're going to target either an 8, 9, or 10% rate of return in general. But if you want to be more aggressive, then that's where the trading account would come in. Now, just to kind of talk about that more, the rate of return that you're projecting or could project in any one of these accounts, you have to think that you don't want to delay school. So it's not like retirement where you just have this investment account and, we hit a recession, I'll just keep working. You don't really want to delay going to school. So you have to be a little bit more conservative in that context as you get closer to school. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you're running a higher rate of return for the trading account versus the savings account. So that would greatly change which account you would use. So me personally, I am primarily using the 529 college savings plans for the savings, and then any additional money that I would need to save or use for my kids' college, I'm just going to use it out of our non-retirement, non-specific 529 plans, an account that I have. So that's basically how I'm saving for college. So my focus right now is just that 529 college savings plan, and then I'll have additional money if they need it to go to school. So I don't need to save 100%. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. I wouldn't save 100% into the 529 college savings plan. What percent should you save? No idea. It really depends on your particular situation. Are you on track for retirement? What's your financial health? What's your financial means? Can you actually put it into any one of these three plans? So that is something that you're gonna have to figure out as a percentage. But with the 529 college savings plan, that is going to be the bulk of the savings. And I think of it also in terms of, if my kids don't go to school, then I'll just give them the account and they can use it for their kids, or I'll just hang on to it and we can change it to my grandkids when we get to that point. I'm taking that money, it's out of sight, out of mind, and I'm not going to take it back. I'm not going to take it out of the 529 plan. But if you did, then there would be penalties. And these tax laws change all the time. But currently, if you take the money out, only the growth will have the 10% penalty plus ordinary income. Anything you put into the 529 plan, a lot like a Roth IRA, you could take out for any time, for any reason, because you already paid taxes on it. So in the grand scheme of things, is the penalties and the taxes going to be terrible? Not really. In my opinion. Again, this is how big is your 529 college savings plan. So that will actually dictate how much the extra taxes are, the growth portion to it, and that additional 10%. But there are no taxes and there's no penalty on those contributions to the 529 college savings plan. Relative to your retirement plan, you're not going to have this account for quite as long. So therefore, there's not going to be as much growth. Where if you look at a retirement plan, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, there's a lot more growth. So your penalties are going to be a lot higher as a percentage of the total account. So that's really the high level overview and how I would look at it. I really wouldn't run any numbers beyond that. Just understand what the pros and the cons are. And again, I think you can kind of see now that it's not just a dollars and cents question or answer to figure out which one is right for you. And again, a combination of one or two or even all three could be right for your family. So maybe you have one kid that wants to go to Florida school. Maybe you have another that maybe is going to go somewhere else. So that's really up to you. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.